Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mr. Perez here again. Hopefully, you guys can hear me loud and clear, even though it sounds a little bit echoey. So, there are going to be five major ideas that we're going to be discussing in Module 41. And by the way, we're going to be doing Module 41 and 42 theories and physiology of emotion and our expressed emotions. So, in this particular Module 41, the theories and physiology of emotion, we're going to be talking about how got tongue tied there for a second. Our collective arousal and expressive behaviors, how they interact with our emotions. In other words, how we get aroused and how we express our behaviors and how, well, we'll see when we get to that point. We're going to explain whether we can experience emotions without being able to interpret them or labeling them. Describe the link between emotional arousal and automatic nervous system. Discuss whether different emotions activate different physiological brain patterns, and also talk the effectiveness of polygraphs in figuring out whether someone is actually being truthful or not. Which I had a clip from the movie Ocean's 11, and I can show you guys that later. Anyways, all right. So cognition and emotion. We had to be very well aware of labeling what is an emotion. So this is what it is in terms of AP psychology, what an emotion is. It involves three distinct different parts. You being physiologically aroused, okay? So, does your body actually respond to some sort of emotion? For example, when you're angry, you may notice that you may have some sort of physical response. When you're happy, you may also have some sort of physical response. Um, Also, emotions have to be expressive behaviors, and you have to be aware of the experience that you are undertaking at this moment right here. So, as you can see, these young ladies, I'm assuming they are probably some sort of college, yeah, probably some sort of college or maybe high school basketball team. And apparently, they may have won some great victory, which everyone seems to be being very happy about it. So obviously, someone here in the middle is crying, tears of joy. Someone is laughing uncontrollably because they're so happy. They are expressing their behaviors, and obviously, they are conscious of the fact that they are happy because they just won a championship. So be aware of that because there's a lot of different mechanics, lot of different parts that are involved in being able to experience emotions. It isn't just being happy or being sad. So I know it's pretty weird. You guys never actually thought about that, but that's one of the beauties about AP psychology, especially the second semester, is that you start discovering more new things about yourself you didn't know about it. So let's talk about a little bit about the historical perspective of emotion as far as theories are concerned. So there is the whole common sense theory, like, oh yeah, this just happens because that's just how it is. That doesn't make sense, but I know just what it is. But let's talk about the other one called James Lang theory. So this theory right here is an interesting one because this theory states that we experience our emotions because we are aware of our body's response to this emotional arousing stimuli. So are there some sort of scenarios where this would make sense? For example, someone's giving you a hug, right? And you feel that hug, and then that in turn, that physiological response or stimuli is thus in turn giving you some sort of emotional response. So that's a very crude and a very rudimentary example, but we have to go to the very basic for you guys to understand what we're talking about. The other guy right here, or the other theory so far, person here, is Cannon-Barr theory. And again, this theory is that emotion arousing stimulus, you winning a championship or your boo breaking up with you. I don't even think you guys use the word boo anymore. But anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. Your significant other, your romantic partner breaking up with you, simultaneously triggers the following two responses. So at the same time, you feel something physiological, like physically, and then also being aware of the subjective nature of the emotion. So again, you have to experience these both at the same time, according to the Cannon-Barr theory. Now, is that what you want? It's up to you. Again, one of one of the most beautiful things, that's a very subjective term, one of the good things, but also bad things about AP psychology is that there are different theories and there are different ways of you guys advocating for your point of view as long as you have a cognizant and your argument makes sense. And again, for some of you guys that are really fans of the hard sciences, you may not like this, but if you learned anything from taking AP psychology, you learned that not everything in life is exactly black or white. There's a lot of gray areas, and there's a lot of information that can help us to figure out life. So obviously, we know that sometimes some sort of spinal injuries can affect people's emotional intake, but again, that's also very subjective. I'll let you guys read further into that. All right, there's another one, and this one I think makes more sense, at least for me. So it's called the two-factor theory. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, but here we go. You can, for a laugh and just for giggles, let's go ahead and Schachtiger and Singer theory. Basically, they're saying that you experience emotion as you have to experience emotion. These two things have to happen. You had to be physically aroused by that emotion, some sort of arousal, and you had to be aware that you are being aroused by this emotion. So take a look at this picture right here from Reuters and Corbis. It says so in the corner up there. These gentlemen, I would take it more than likely just looking at the contextual clues of this picture. There are soccer balls. And one of the guys in the far right hand corner has the flag of England around his waist. And then you can see off in the foreground the English flag again, which is different from the UK flag. Now you might be thinking, put one and one together, and what do you get? These guys are soccer hooligans. They are fans of the English national soccer team, or football as they call it around the world. Sorry guys, it's called football, but we're here in the U.S., so we have to call it soccer. The only other place they call it soccer is in Australia, which is a little bit weird. Anyways, so we have these English football fans probably out celebrating after a game, whether it's a celebration of joy or a celebration of anger. Because if you know anything about British football fans, or the English fans of football, they are very rabid and very, very hardcore. So, why am I giving you guys this example? Sometimes when we see people acting in a certain way, it does tend to have what is known as a little bit of a spillover effect. So, if someone's acting all crazy around you, what ends up happening is you might, in turn, yourself might want to also turn a little bit crazy because everybody's doing the exact same thing. Um, just sometimes what happens is when you are around other people and they're doing something, you just want to keep doing it. Again, we are social creatures, so just be aware of that. So another one right here is that sometimes our emotions are processed in different parts of our brain, and that's why in the first semester I had you guys do, and according to the way the AP board wanted me to teach it to you guys, I had you guys looking at the brain a lot because, as you guys know, different parts of the brain obviously do process emotions differently than, or different parts process emotion differently. It's not all done the same. So just be aware of that right there, okay? Now, continue with the two different pathways of emotions. Let's go ahead and go to the next graphic. That way it makes more sense. Let's just go to the end. Oh, here we are. So, two pathways of emotion. You have an event, and you are appraising the event. In other words, trying to figure out what is going on. And then what Lazarus and Scheicher theory says that as a result of that appraisal of the situation, you get an emotional response. All right. Or you can also go ahead and see the other way. You see the event and you get an emotional response. So these two pair of theorists have different ideas as far as how you experience emotion. And again, I know this is annoying and this is all confusing, but there's many different ways to be able to explain how we experience emotion and how it actually works out. So obviously, in the Lazarus one, you have an event and you think about what's going on, and then that tells you what are you gonna feel emotionally. And the other one, Zagnac and Ledoux, hope I'm saying it right. I don't know French. You have the event and you get an emotional response, because of the event. There are ways to think about these two theories. Okay, so for example, I'm sorry if I'm getting very dark here, like very dark, but let's talk about the bottom theory right here, the one of Sajong and Ledoux. So you have an event, and let's say, for example, you have a very loved pet. It dies. It gets run over in front of your eyes. automatically what ends up happening? You get an emotional response because it's right away, right? I know it's a very crude and rudimentary and very dark example, but just being that you can letting you guys know about it. Or how about another one? Let's talk about the Lazarus Shachter Singer theory. You have an event. Let's say your pet. One day you wake up and your pet just chilling on the couch, and they haven't moved. You eat breakfast, so you go over there to appraise the situation, and you realize they are no longer on Earth anymore. So again, you have an appropriate emotional response. Yes, I understand these are very crude, very dark, and very bad examples, or I should say very basic. But again, this is how you explain these theories, okay? Let's keep going on here. So these are a summary of the different emotion theories as far as how we explain emotions. And again, and they are giving you guys some very, very simplistic examples of how these theories actually work out in real life. And again, honestly, if I were you guys and I wanted to do a good job of getting a good grade on the AP exam, because again, the whole purpose of this class is not just to get that A, because honestly, all you guys can get easily an A in the class, but you want to get at least a 3 on the test. It would be a good idea for you guys. Hopefully, you guys are intrinsically motivated to take the advice I'm giving you right now to actually be more aware of these emotional theories and be more well versed. Obviously, you can always ask me questions and pick my brain, or you can just go ahead and keep reading your book or read supplemental materials. Let's talk about how your body responds to emotion itself. Now, remember how we talked about the brain and the nervous system. Remember how there's two parts of the nervous system. There's one that's called the automatic nervous system. It's just stuff happens automatically without you even thinking it. And then obviously within that one, you have two different subparts, right? So you have the sympathetic nervous system. That's the one that makes you want to fight, flight, or flee, or whatever you want to call it. That one that wakes you up, makes you do something, makes you alert. That's the one that arouses you right there. So as you guys can see on this left-hand side right here, these are different parts of the body and different situations that happen to your body when you are aroused. So let's say, for example, it's midnight and I don't know, you hear a big old bang in front of your house and you wake up. What happens? Your pupils dilate to be able to see better in the dark and to respond to that action. If a tiger were in front of you or a bear were in front of you, obviously your eyes are going to get really big and wide. Why? Because you want to be able to see all the information that's in front of you in order for you to be able to make some decision to be able to fight or flight or do something else or just shut down. Your heart keeps going, pumping more blood. Your stomach stops digestion. And I think we already talked about this, but your body, especially your stomach, does not need to be processing food. It needs to go ahead and divert all blood flow away from the internal organs and out to your extremities to be able to get you to be able to flee or flight or whatever you need to do. Your liver gives you a more bump of glucose, so you'll be able to fight and have more energy. Your adrenal glands stimulate all these different endorphins to go ahead and get rid of that pain. So people that have been shot out on the battlefield, they never experience the actual shot wound because they have all these painkillers in them. So just be aware of that right there. Your bladder, one of the theories could be is that your bladder releases all of its byproduct, liquid byproduct or waste, because maybe you want to be a little bit lighter, but you don't need to be worrying about that pee because honestly, you're not going to care if you held in your pee if you're dead. Might as well let it go. That way you can just get out of there super fast. And obviously, if it's in terms of sexual reproduction, we know that it stimulates ejaculation in males. So just be aware of those right there. Now, what happens when you've heard that loud bang in front of your house and you go out there and take a look, and all it was somebody popping a bunch of balloons out in the middle of the night? Let's say for whatever reason, it's, I don't know, September 1st, 2021. And what it is that somebody finally found a cure for COVID, like all the variants. And everyone's just celebrating by popping balloons. And like, yay, didn't you hear the news? No, what happened? They really got rid of COVID. How do you do it? You do that. I'm not going to tell you how. It's a joke, by the way. I don't know. I know it's not going to be that easy. Just be aware of that. But anyways, you calm down, you're chill. Now what happens? Your body has to bring you back down from that super, super heightened state of being. So now what happens is your eyes start getting smaller, they contract. Your heart starts pumping lower blood or more slower. Your stomach starts digesting food because it goes, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about anything. I can start digesting that um, ramen that I had for dinner. And then obviously what ends up happening is your liver stimulates the gallbladder to go ahead and, tamp down on that glucose. Your bladder contracts, so okay, maybe I don't have to pee. I don't want to embarrass myself. And then obviously blood flow also in terms of sexual reproduction. Blood flow leaves the sexual organs in the males, and there's more blood flow there. Okay, so just be aware of those right there, those theories. So now, emotions in the autonomic nervous system. So again, we have these different emotional arousals I just told you right here. So what happens with your sympathetic nervous system in terms of your eyes, your pupils dilate, and your parasympathetic, you're calming down, pupils contract. This is a very great graphic, guys, and I would recommend you guys take a look at this. And if it were in your notes, I would just go ahead and copy it, especially for to study as on your test, because this is a really good graphic that tells you exactly what happens when your emotions, your automatic nervous system are involved, and how your body excites yourself, and then how your body calms you down right there. Oh my God, this guy, this is a picture right here of this guy with, I guess, their 5-year-old kid. He looks pretty young. Sorry, I got to get him mad because I'm standing on concrete right here. Um, yeah, that dad's like freaking out. Reminds me of me and my 2-year-old daughter who loves to run out on the street. Yeah, one time I had like do a super fast sprint and just make sure to stop her from doing that. So she runs pretty fast, even for a 2-year-old. I'm like, dang. So, all right, let's continue. So we know that insula, the brain circuits, the left frontal lobe are also involved in emotions, but I want to go ahead and get that past that part and get to the good part, talk about expressed emotions. Again, if you think you want more information on that, you can always hit me up, but I wouldn't worry about it too much right now. And that's from the AP teacher telling you right here. All right, moving on to expressed emotion. 3 big ideas. So we're going to describe our ability to be able to talk to each other without even talking to each other, and talk about how different genders have more or less ability to talk to each other without even talking to each other, if that makes any sense. And talk about some sort of a culture specific and culture universal aspects of nonverbal expression, certain signs, if you know what I mean, and describe how our face expresses emotions and influences our feelings. So, nonverbal cue. This right here is known as a Dunshin smile. Obviously, right here, this man is smiling in both pictures, but there's subtle, and by subtle means I mean very small, um, little changes in the faces that you see that can tell you if someone's actually smiling or not. Okay, so look at this right here because you guys can probably tell the difference. If you look at the lips, they are somewhat in the same position. But if then you start looking at the cheeks, one of those pictures right there, the cheeks are more raised than the other one. And if you look at one picture, the eyes are more wide open, and the other ones, the eyes are a little bit more closed. The opening of the eyes, how big or how small they are, might indicate to someone if someone is smiling or not. Also, the amount of friction or the amount of tension, not friction, tension that is present in the cheeks could also indicate if someone is actually smiling or not. So sometimes you might know when someone's actually fake smiling versus real smiling. I would go ahead and tell you if someone is actually really smiling, you might see more wrinkles than not. So just be aware of that right there. So this right here, and it's sort of like the previous picture right here. This guy is the same facial expressions, just very minute changes in the faces that make someone look more, how should I put it, look like they're in different states of being. So if you look at this picture right here, this guy looks a little bit happy, like sort of cool. Maybe he had surgery and had some pain pills, so that's why he's really happy. This one right here, this is before he went to the ER. He looks very distressed. So again, just very subtle. Eyes, the lips, the cheeks are pressed up, and this one, not really down this one. So just be aware of it. I guess this looks like me if I shave my beard and put color contacts in. and didn't go into the sun a lot. All right. So, gender, emotion, and nonverbal behavior. It is no secret that men are not as literate in being able to decipher and understand emotion. We have very low emotional literacy, ladies. Gentlemen, that is one of the disadvantages of being us who we are. We are not very literate in being able to figure out emotion. It is something that takes, it is a skill that takes a lot of practice. And even with a lot of practice, there still can be mistakes made. So here we have graphic of number of expressions that women and men say they see in a film. So as you can see, the colors that are red orange are more. There's more numerous than the ones that are blue, which are for men. So obviously, in the happy films, women see more numbered expressions. It's just a very graphic, or it's a graphic expression of what I'm telling you guys right here. These are various faces of various people in various states of being. Just off the top of my head, I will tell you that I think this lady is happy, surprised. I would say this guy's disgusted, mad, like, I'm sorry, like, what do you mean? And this guy's like, okay, I think I just pooped my pants. I'll tell you guys more about it later on. So again, this man right here, we look at different pictures. We look at a lot of we look a lot. I sound like I'm Italian or something like that. We look at a lot of different. Again, I did it again. We always look at different contextual clues and clues around a person to try to decipher their emotions. So in one picture right here, it's basically the same face. In one picture, the guy has, I hope those aren't undergarments, but appears to look like it. He looks disgusted. And in the other picture, he looks like he's about to smash your face. So in one picture, he's probably telling his 2-year-old, his 3-year-old kid, "Why did you put these underwear under the desk? You should just put them in the drawers, in the laundry bin." In the other picture, he's probably like, "How dare you talk smack about the Las Vegas Raiders?" It's a joke, by the way. Now the cartoon in the bottom, um, it's very ironic because the one on the left hand side, there's tears, and she goes, "Am I sad?" And the other one, "Am I sad?" One, and the joke is, one is actually sad. The other one just look cool, chic, like for a photo shoot. So let's talk about facial expressions. So there is an idea called a facial feedback effect. So what ends up happening is that there's a theory that if you smile, you might be happy. If your face is always mad, then you might be mad. Um, if your face is always look like it's in fear, you're gonna probably be scared. I will tell you this. It's pretty hard to do it though, but one of the tricks, and I'm not gonna. I always talk about running, but well, running applies to a lot of things. But one of the tricks that I learned and heard about when doing long distance running, and I'm talking about doing 13.1 miles. Sorry guys, I'm stuttering and getting tongue tied here. Very little sleep in the past couple of days. Daughter wakes up almost every hour, and I have to get her out of the bed and give her to my wife so she can nurse her. So very sleepy. Anyways, one of the ideas in doing long distance running, they say one of the tricks is that especially when you get to the more difficult parts of the race, where you have like 3 miles left out of a 13-mile race, mile 10, 11, 12, they always say what you should do is you should smile. Because what happens is that smiling makes your body think that you're happy. And if you're happy, then you are more likely to release endorphins, and then you won't mind the pain of the last 3 miles of a 13-mile race. Yeah, I tried that, and I have tried it during races. But what ends up happening is I get so tired of smiling because I'm concentrating on my all my muscle flow and all my energy on my legs. I'm putting one foot in front of the other. So it might work, but it might not also. So again, I would ask cheerleaders if that actually helps, because I know sometimes cheerleaders have to always smile when they're cheering, even when their team's losing. So I don't know if that works or not, but that's a trick. So be aware of the different subfields of psychology called health psychology. And the basically talks about how our behavior influences our health, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. All right, let's see. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about that is not here, I'll just go ahead and leave this right here. I don't know why is it not talking about that. It did not talk about. Maybe I forgot to include that slide, but polygraphs. Or was that in the previous one? I think that was in the previous one. But anyways, we do know that in different parts of the world, I'll just leave it on this one so you guys can hear me. In different parts of the world, different hand signs mean different things. For example, if you throw the peace sign here in the US, that means peace. But if you go to England and you throw that peace sign backwards, that basically means the same as flipping the bird, right? Different parts of the world, if you give someone a thumbs up, you're basically telling them to put that thumb somewhere where the sun don't shine. And that's basically a bad word. So just be aware of that right there. Some other ideas and just things I want to tell you guys really quickly is that we can detect a lot of body language just automatically. We can tell a lot about a person by the vocal tone. Back when we were in school, you could tell if the instructor was happy, mad, or whatever. How? Just by reading their body language, it's just seeing what they were. You can tell by their vocal tones. And again, a lot of face-to-face interactions do give a lot of information to people without even having to talk to them. That's why us as teachers are having a hard time trying to communicate with you guys and give you guys this information because we're not face to face. It's basically a bunch of it's a bald guy on the screen on your computer, and you're just talking to him. So just be aware of that. And again, to reiterate, women are better at detecting nonverbal cues because women have more emotional literacy. Why? Evolutionary psychology, guys. Evolutionary psychology. Just be aware of that. So all right, guys, that is it for this one right here. I have to make your quiz. And I will talk to you guys again later. All right, guys, take care, and we'll see you next time.